There are things that were found inside these places that never made the news. There are people who tried to go back and were turned away. And there's one city that the government of an entire country has spent decades trying to make the world forget. Welcome to Dark Mysteries. Number 10. This one looks like the set of a horror film, but the horror was completely real. At its peak, it was the most densely populated place on the entire surface of the earth. And then one day in 1974, they all left. Hashima was built on forced labor. Korean and Chinese workers were brought here during World War II. Brought is a kind word. Let us say what it was: enslaved, kept on an island they could not escape from. Within 3 months, 5,000 people were gone. The island is open to visitors now. You can walk the edges, just not inside the buildings. People have asked why. Nobody answers. Cliffhanger, number 9 is a city in Europe that vanished not because of economics or war, but because of a secret that the people who lived had discovered about their own ground. Pripyat, Ukraine. Population 49,360. A model Soviet city. The Chernobyl reactor exploded on April 26 th. The city of Pripyat was not evacuated until the following afternoon, 36 hours later. Children played outside. People ate breakfast and walked to work and breathed air that was poisoning them. The announcement to evacuate came on April 27th. 3.5 hours to pack. 3.5 hours to take everything you owned, everything that mattered, everything that made up a life, and fit it into whatever you could carry. Most people left the furniture, left the photos, left the toys. The fairground opened exactly once. Children rode that Ferris wheel while the reactor still burned. The Ferris wheel is still there, still standing, and it has never turned since. Proof that normal life was happening right up until the moment it stopped. Because they were told they would be back in 3 days. They were never allowed back. Number 8 is a city in the American Southwest abandoned not by disaster or government order, but by something nobody has been willing to officially explain for over 100 years. I want you to picture a city bigger than London in 1250 AD. Monk's Mound alone contains more material than the Great Pyramid of Giza. At its peak, around 1100 AD, Cahokia was the largest city north of Mexico. And then between 1300 and 1350 AD, they left, every single one of them. Where did 40,000 people go? We genuinely do not know. They left in a way that looks deliberate, organized, as if they made a decision, together, and walked away. And the understanding that yours could too. Number 7, a city in Pennsylvania where the ground itself is on fire, and it has been burning for 60 years, and some people never left. Centralia, Pennsylvania. I am starting with the road, because the road tells a whole story. In 1962, a fire was set in the town landfill. It spread into the coal seam, into the tunnels. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy nearly died when the ground suddenly collapsed beneath him. The government eventually forced most residents out. A handful of people refused to leave. Some of them are still there, an old man sitting in his house above a coal fire that may outlive him by centuries. The ground temperature in some spots reaches over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, just a few feet below the surface. That fire may continue burning for another 250 years. I find that both terrifying and deeply, deeply human. Number 6. A city in West Africa where the people did not leave. They were taken, and what was taken along with them was something no one wants to name. Out on the coast of Benin, more than 1 million people walked through this town. The merchant houses, the warehouses, they are still there, crumbling, a ghost of commerce built on human lives. That doorway is called the door of no return, because not one person who walked through it ever came back. Not one person who walked through it ever came back. The Beninese government has a ceremony now. Every year, they walk the slave route and they open that door. I think that is worth sitting with for a moment. It was abandoned because it was finished. The work it was built to do was done. Number 5. A Soviet city so secret that it didn't exist on any map, and the reason it was abandoned is still officially classified. The Soviet Union had what they called closed cities, secret cities. If you lived in one, you could not tell anyone where you lived. Cities that were built, populated, and operated completely outside of public knowledge. If someone asked your address, you were given a code, a number, a postbox in another town. One of them was shut down in the early 1990s as the Soviet Union collapsed. Some of the materials inside those buildings were not transferred, because transferring them safely would have required admitting they existed. The Russian government position, that city does not exist. We have nothing to say about it. Number 4. A Chinese city that was deliberately flooded. 150,000 people displaced. And what went underwater is something the government has never fully catalogued. In 1959, the Chinese government built a dam. They needed the valleys to fill with water. The problem was that those valleys were not empty. They held Shecheng, Lion City. Shecheng, a city built during the Han Dynasty, over 1,300 years old. Carved stone archways so detailed that archaeologists are calling the finest stonework of the era. When divers discovered it in 2001, they found stone lions still sitting at their posts. Wooden beams still intact. Buildings that had been underwater for 40 years and looked like they could be walked through. Shecheng is completely inaccessible to the public. You cannot swim to it. You cannot tour it. The only people who go down there are government-authorized divers. A perfectly preserved 1,300-year-old city sitting at the bottom of a lake. And for most people on Earth, it simply does not exist. Number 3. A German colonial town in the Namibian desert where they found diamonds in the sand and built paradise. And when the diamonds ran out, they left. And the desert moved in. And what it did to the houses is something you need to see. I want you to picture the nicest house you have ever seen. Kolmanskop, a German colonial town built in the Namibian desert in 1908. Now fill it, slowly, with sand. The desert, patient, indifferent, eternal, moved in. A bowling alley, a theater. This was a town built to say, this operation will last forever. A worker named Zacharias Luala was shoveling sand when he noticed something glinting. They built a hospital. This was supposed to last forever. No drama, no disaster, just the slow logic of capitalism. When the value is gone, the people leave. Number 2. Varosha, Cyprus, the most glamorous resort in the Mediterranean. An entire city preserved as a hostage. And the people who live just beyond the fence can see their homes and cannot reach them. Varosha was one of the most glamorous resort towns in the Mediterranean. This is where Pripyat Bardo came to sunbathe, where Elizabeth Taylor stayed. In August 1970, the Turkish military invaded Cyprus. The residents fled south ahead of the advancing army. They took what they could carry. They fully expected to come back within days. The Turkish military fenced the entire city off. For 4 to 6 years, no civilian was permitted to enter. Inside, the 1974 cars sat in showrooms rusting. The hotel rooms sat with their beds made and their suitcases still on the luggage racks. There are people alive today who last walked out of their homes in Varosha in August 1974 and have never been back. Their keys are still on their kitchen tables. Number 1. I told you at the start there's a city the government of an entire country has spent decades trying to make the world forget. This is that city. I want to tell you about deliberate erasure. The only building left standing is a mosque. Agdam, Azerbaijan. Population 50,000. A living city. The Azerbaijani population fled as Armenian forces advanced. In August 1993, the city fell. What happened next was not simply occupation. The buildings were systematically stripped. This is called herbicidal, the deliberate killing of a city. Agdam had a famous football club. They played here. The city their grandparents left does not exist anymore. The streets their families walked are rubble. You do not demolish a mosque, not if you want the world to keep looking away. Agdam remained under Armenian control for 27 years. In 2020, a second war returned it to Azerbaijan. And now there are grand plans. Reconstruction, a new city, built exactly where the old one was erased. The homes where they were born are a quarry. The old Agdam exists only in photographs, in memory. That is not abandonment. That is annihilation with paperwork. 10 cities, 10 different endings. A fire that will burn for 3 more centuries. A civilization that vanished and left no forwarding address. A holdout sitting above a fire that may outlive him. A port town abandoned because its purpose was finished. A city of secret addresses that still does not officially exist. A 1,300-year-old city sitting at the bottom of a lake, What stays is only what was not worth taking. A city preserved as a hostage. Annihilation with paperwork. All of them have one thing in common. The people who lived there thought they would be back. They always do. Nobody packs like they will never return, because the brain does not work that way. It is the evidence of lives interrupted, proof that normal life was happening right up until the moment it stopped. And the understanding that yours could too. One question before you go. Tell me in the comments, and tell me why, because your reason will tell me exactly what kind of person you are. Subscribe, because there are more places like these.